Welcome. You have reached Imperial Reviews, and today's review is from Season 3, Episode 10, Season Finale. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So, this episode probably, since I've been recapping and reviewing from, this is probably one of the best episodes I've seen. It might have been another episode that was probably better, but this is this is definitely one of the top episode that they ever did. And this is, even though the story just got deeper and it really didn't push this, we really didn't find too many answers, in my opinion. Maybe a little, but the episode was just dramatic, and it was intense, and it kept you in tune and engaged. And so they really did the cast, the acting, they did a great job on that aspect of it. But storyline wise, it just got deeper, and they didn't get no wins. I keep hearing me say that this is a series that they just take L after L after L. There's really no wins. We still ain't found no weakness to the night crawlers. Only night walkers, night crawlers, whatever you want to call them. We still haven't. The only weakness we ever had was the blood that Boyd put in Smiley, and it killed him. That's the only thing we had, or whatever. So we find out what was growing in Fatima, and we found out what that was. Nevertheless, so what we got going on is the episode starts off with Ellis coming in talking to Boyd and Kenny, basically saying he believes Elgin knows about Fatima, pretty much saying the weird conversations he was having. So they pretty much said like he's hearing voices. So they said meet us up at the house. And so up at the Colonial House, and Boyd went and got Sarah. So they was going to use all tactics to get this information. Where's Fatima at? Meanwhile, the storyline, you had Victor and his dad. Victor was in the house with Tabitha, and when Ethan and Jim came in, Victor was like, you need to get in there. Your mom pretty much fell. Jim went in there, and when he went in to talk to Tabitha, she had fell, and she's explaining to him everything. Meanwhile, Julie came out with Ethan, talking to Victor, and Julie was like, let's go to the diner. And Victor was like, no. So to end Victor's calls for the rest of the episode, because it was just it was going to different characters, moving pieces throughout the episode. So Victor's pretty much episode, him and his dad, Henry, and he felt, he did wrong. So he took Henry to the gravesite of Marissa, his mom, and Eloise, his sister. Now we definitely know that Marissa was there. All he found was pieces. So he had two little tombstones that he colored for the mom and for the Eloise, but we really don't know. He just said there was remaining parts. He don't really know if Eloise was there or died in the process. So that was that, and Victor blamed himself, and the dad pretty much, Henry, was like, no, it's not your fault. Don't you blame yourself. You was a kid. Pretty much, I'm the dad. I'm supposed to protect you all, and your mom was protecting you. That's why she went out. Because Victor said he heard Jasper speaking with the other guy, and that's what he gave his mom the information, and she went out right after he gave her the information, and she was trying to get to the tree and couldn't make it, and Smiley, of course, killed her. Now, Victor felt as though he was to blame, and pretty much Henry was like, "No, you're not to blame. Your mom was just trying to protect you all, and as I'm here to protect you now," and then pretty much it was a moment where I thought Victor was just something was going to jump in Victor. He's going to push Henry off the cliff, but that didn't happen, and Henry just embraced him, and that was pretty much the episode for Henry and Victor. Him embracing his son and letting him know that it wasn't his fault. So then you had Julie and Ethan. So their situation pretty much in the episode was them at the diner, talking about everything, and Julie finally confessed that what she experienced in the ruin, and she had the thought that she can go back. If she go back to the ruin, she could go back and change time, change things that happen in time. So Ethan pretty much said, "No, you're more like a story. What do you call her? A story walker, or basically she can goes back in time and she can see things that took place, but time, once the story's told, it's supposed to remain the way it is. It's not meant for her to go back and change things. It's just meant for her to see." So Ethan, of course, it's like Ethan been telling this story all from the beginning, and nobody's really paying attention to him like that because he's the kid. So we seen Julie had that suspicious look, like, I trust my little brother. I gave my little brother this information, but who's my little brother to be telling me this? So pretty much you knew she was going to do something, right? After he done told her she can't go back into time and change things, because she pretty much said, I can go back in time and help Tien Chan and not get killed. I could go back in time and save Tom and stuff. She so you knew she was going to do something. So that was pretty much their part of the episode, almost. Then you go to Randall. So Randall, he had a small part in this. He was working out, but he still had the cicadas messing with him. So he goes into where the health clinic where Christy and her girlfriend is, and I always forget the girlfriend's name. So nevertheless, he goes and he wears the new equipment. He wants to give himself a shock treatment and turn off the cicada noises in his head. And right when he was very shock himself, Christy's girlfriend came in, stopped him, pretty much said, "You're not in this alone." And he's like, "I wanted to stop." So after Christy gave him something to calm down, she talked to the girlfriend, pretty much said, "Hey, listen, Randall's a wreck. Julie is screwed up. You the only one acting normal. Are you okay?" And then she's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She's like, "No, you need to tell me, like, are you okay? Because why you're not affected like they're affected?" And she pretty much is like, "I'm cool." And then she's pretty much asking her what we're gonna do with him once he comes to, because he's really going through something. So that was pretty much the episode with them. Then we had Fatima show the scene with her, showing her she's in the she's big and the blood is there. She took the jar of blood, threw it against the wall. Then by the glass breaking, she took the glass, and it seen her picking up the glass like as if she was going to harm herself. So that's what she pretty much, it was sharp enough. And she, thinking to herself, should I do it? Then it went from there. It went back to Boyd and all of them at the Colonial House. Boyd pretty much explained to the group what he got to do, told Donna to exit everybody out of the Colonial House. and they went upstairs. Well, Elgin had a bag, and they told Elgin, well, pretty much, yo, man, we need to talk to you. So they pretty much surrounded him, and Elgin is scared, and he didn't put up no fight. Most people would have tried to run, and he went into a room, and they was talking to him, and he pretty much confessed, like, he knew where Fatima was, and he couldn't tell him because if he believed the voices told him the angel, which we know is not an angel, told him if he followed through and helped, they would go all be able to go home. And so they pretty much reasoned with him, like, that's not the truth. She's not an angel. And then even Sarah pretty much like, listen, I've been where you at. Those voices in your head that have you doing X, Y, and Z, they don't mean you know well. They don't mean you good, rather. So Boyd was like, listen, I got something to do. Nobody goes into here, this room. Where's your tools? And so everybody looked like, no, boy, you can't. He like, well, how's we going to get information? So Boyd going the torture method. So what happens is when he goes to get the tools, Father Coultry appears and pretty much said, listen, man, they're going back and forth and giving a good dialogue, trying to convince Void not to do what he do, and pretty much said to him, if you do this, you'll never be the same. You know, this is going to be the person you want to be going forward. So Boyd was pretty much said, my family is missing. I got to save her. What else choice do I have? So he comes back to the colonial house. He told everybody, don't let nobody come into the room. And I got to do what I got to do. So everybody wasn't really in agreement with it, but they understood. So, and again, Boyd didn't tell Kenny. Kenny was kind of suspicious, like, well, what was she doing out in this area? And he pretty much didn't tell Kenny why. So nevertheless, Boyd took out the tools. He ended up wrapping Elgin up. Elgin still all this time didn't put up a fight, didn't try to run or nothing like that. And he still believed that what he was doing was right. So while all this is going on, then you got Jade, Tabitha, and Jim. So after Jim went in and speak to his wife, consoled her, and he went, she told him a little bit more about the vision she seen about Marissa. She believed she was Marissa that experienced that. And he went and told Jade. And when he told Jade, Jade was pretty much like, shoot the breeze. I ain't got time to be done with you. I'm closed. And once Jim said that, Jade came over to the house. So their mission was trying to figure out everything. So Jade was like, what does these numbers mean? What does these numbers mean? He's trying to put these numbers together. So Jim pretty much, so if you all been noticing during this last few episodes, that Jim pretty much has been doing a character arc redemption. Pretty much he's being more of a father to his kids. He's being more of a husband to his wife. He's being supportive. And he's just not on his own mission or whatever. So they building Jim up. We've been watching this over the last few episodes. So Jim pretty much comes up with the idea what the numbers is. It's, if you change the numbers a certain way, basically it's music notes. And then light bulb went off in Jade's mind. You're a genius, you're right. And as soon as that triggered in his mind, music started being played in his head. And then all of a sudden he started piecing together the melody on the board with the numbers. So now you looking at this like, so when he starts saying, oh, we got to get the violin and I can play this. And so Jim pretty much like, oh, hold on, wait. Do you think this is something that we should do? Because we could be summoned in a spirit that ain't supposed to be summoned with this music. And they pretty much was like, well, what do we got to lose at this point? So so they said, well, let's go basically to the tree that the kids was trying to put their hope into, and at least it won't wreak havoc on the town. So they thought. So they tell Victor told so Tabitha, and we also been seeing that we was paying attention to, but maybe not paying attention too much. That Tabitha and Jade has been building a closeness over the time, right? So Jade pretty much, Tabitha and Jade went one way, told Jim to go in his basement in the house and go get the violin that he had. So it takes them to, they go out to where the tree was so Jade could play the music. Back to the Colonial House. Now, at this point, Boyd put everybody else out, told Elgin, you need to give me the information because I really don't want to do this. So a picture went off. When a picture went off, Elgin said, hey, that's how she communicates to me. So when the picture went off, when the Polaroid came out, it was a picture of Boyd's house when he retired. And basically he's fed up now. And so she was basically saying, the spirit was telling Boyd, reminding him of the house that he once had, his retirement house, and that you gotta listen to Elgin because if you do this, you all get to go home. And so Elgin was like, Boyd pretty much like, it's one thing missing in that image, my effing boat. So he pretty much told, Father Coultry showed up, and he pretty much said, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. So Boyd took Elgin's hand, put it out, bashed his hand. So now Elgin's hand, the bone was coming out of the hand. Elgin was all bloody, screaming. Everybody rushed in, pretty much telling Boyd, chill, don't do it. So they pulled, at this point, the cop that came into town, she came in. She's pretty much like, what all y'all sitting here for? And that's when Boyd smacked her with the hammer. She rushed upstairs to intervene, and they pretty much tell her, you need to calm down, you need to shut down. She was like, so basically they took her downstairs, and everybody rushed to talk to her, let her know this is what Boyd got to do, and she's talking about him with him. Meanwhile, when she does that, back it shows Fatima. So now Fatima is Gertie stabbed herself with the broken glass, and the Komodo lady spirit showed back up, and she said she grabbed her, stopped her from, because Fatima started to cut her skin, and she grabbed her from not doing that and said, then this time she spoke, she said, it's coming. And right at that moment, Fatima's water broke, and she pretty much took Fatima, put her on the bed, and Fatima started to have the baby, or whatever that is inside. So while that's happening, Boyd is explaining to the cop woman, and everybody's talking. Sarah, nobody's paying attention to Sarah, so Sarah goes back in the room. And Sarah pretty much is talking to Elgin, telling him, like, you need to tell me what's going on. And pretty much she said, she started talking weird and crazy. So she pretty much said, Boyd's a good man, and I want to protect him. And he can't do what's necessary that needs to be done, because if he does it, he'd go into an abyss, and the place would have broke him. People won't respect him. But she pretty much said, I'm gonna make this sacrifice because I'm already in doomsday. Crazy people already got a perception of her, so she do what's necessary. It ain't really gonna hurt her too much, you know. People could pretty much kill her, and this is her final redemption mark. So what she took and did while they were talking to Boyd downstairs, there's a long screwdriver. She grabbed it, and all of a sudden this picture goes back to them, and you hear this screaming. They all rush upstairs. When they rush upstairs and open the door, it shows a quick glimpse of Elgin. He looking all disheveled, blood everywhere. She snatched his eyeball out and then it went to Sarah. She just had the screwdriver and blood everywhere. she snatched his eyeball out, and when they came in, she said he's, basically he's Fatima's at the cellar. So by this time, it just shows them Jade. It shows Jade is playing the music, and where the tree is, and Jim and Tabitha is there. They're all playing the music, and so while they're all playing the music, while Jade is playing the music, these sequences happen. So it shows Ellis, Boyd, and Kenny all rush into the cellar. It shows them going into the cellar. Now at this time, Fatima is screaming because she's actually having whatever inside her out. So while the music is playing, that door that Fatima was trying to open, couldn't open, it raised up. Fatima had whatever was in there. It wasn't a baby, it was just still like this like ball thing just moving, like a heart, but a big giant heart or whatever it was. Something like a cocoon, pretty much, my bad, cocoon. So the Komodo lady, she went down in that trapdoor area. She left and went down there. By that time, Boyd and Kenny, they finally got in, and she pretty much was saying she's seen what all the kids, she's seen what all the parents did. The parents was told that they could live forever if they killed the children. And she pretty much said she went down there. So Boyd pretty much was like telling all them, y'all need to go. Y'all need to go. And Ellis was like, no, Dad, what are you talking about? You got to come with us. He's like, I'm right behind you. But I got to see where she's taking that thing to and see what happens. So they all, well, it never showed them really taking Fatima leave, but it does show Boyd go down there and follow the trail to see what happened. And he got his lantern and he got his gun. So it goes back to Jade, Tabitha, and Jim, and the music's playing, and the Cooey kids, they start popping up, and so they're looking, and what are they? First he stopped playing the music, and then they told him keep going, keep playing the music, and so when the kids finally came up, they said a Cooey. They kept saying a Cooey. What they kept saying. Really, that meant remember. And so they kept saying remember to Tabitha. And finally it hit her what she needed to remember or what this was all about. So she pretty much, all the kids was around and Tabitha dropped on the ground, and one of the kids actually came up on the ground and said to her, remember, or whatever. And so at that moment, she got hysterical. She ran off, and then Jim chased after her, like, what's going on? Like, what happened? And then Tabitha's like, I can't really talk about it right now. And Jim like, hold on, man, I've been supporting you, whatever. You got to talk to me. You can't just, it's broken communication. You got to let me know what you're experiencing, what you're going through, what's your thoughts. You have to tell me. So Tabitha was breaking pieces. So finally she came clean on basically saying that she know why Jade has a connection to this place. She know why she has a connection to this place is because they've been here before. And basically, their spirit has been here time after time trying to help and solve the riddle or whatever. So once their spirit fails, they jump into another spirit and then it comes here. So Jade's spirit and Tabitha's spirit been here before. That's why they started it all. Tabitha's spirit and Jade's spirit started in the beginning. They lost a daughter, and pretty much their spirit's been jumping in different people over time to try to stop this entity at this town. So that's why it keeps drawing them to there. So then it shows a flashback scene when Jim was driving in the RV and he said something to Tabitha, and it kind of resonated now as to why they had such a broken situation going on. So Tabitha was crying, pretty much telling Jim, like, I just need some time. I need some time, because basically me and Jay used to be husband and wife or whatever back in the time. So Jim looking to show like he don't know what's going on. So that scene right there. So now it goes back to Boyd. Boyd is down and following this path that the Komodo lady went down in, and so she picked the breathing heart cocoon thing down. The rest of the group, the town's sleepwalker was there, and that cocoon pretty much was breathing, and it expanded, and then you started to see a body, expanded from a small size of like could be an infant in a cocoon, and then it just started expanding to an adult. So now you wonder who's in this cocoon, and then right as it started to enlarge, you like, is they bringing back Smiley? Remember we said Smiley was dead. Sure enough, when the cocoon, it came out of cocoon, it was Smiley, and it was smiling. He came out smiling. And if those of you don't know who Smiley is, Smiley, the Night Walker Smiley that just had the smiling face all the time. And so that's all it's saying. Boyd witnessed that. So the whole time they used Fatima to birth so they could bring Smiley back. And so now you're sitting here. So now you know why Fatima was, the voices in her head, why she did what she did, killing Tully. They had to get this entity out of her so that it could bring Smiley back to life. Once again, the group didn't get no wins. We just know a little bit more story that the parents of the town sacrificed their children so that they could live forever. And I guess in a sense, you could say the spirit being, they live forever. But like I said, this show is getting lost because it really didn't. The group is taking loss after loss, all the L's. There's no wins. It told the story just a little bit, and it kept you in tune. So it kept you in tune, but overall, you really didn't get too much more of the storyline. So we had to get one big death, right? So after all that, it shoots to Jim out, trying to figure things out, but it shoots to him at the RV. So all out of nowhere, while he's thinking at the RV, going over everything in his mind, you don't know what's taking place. So you like, how much time has passed, or did any time pass? We just seen Jim, did he walk straight from there and get over to the RV? All of a sudden it shows Julie with a cut face and blood on her face or whatever, and she's running, Dad, Dad, Dad. And she's like, basically, she started to, she's frightened, and he's like, Julie, I'm right here. So she's telling him pretty much, like, as if she went into the ruin again, and she was trying to change the story, but didn't change it. But her hair looks different, because it's like, at this moment, it's jet black. So you don't know. You're thinking, did this just happen when she went into the shrine, or how much time has passed from whatever they experienced? So her hair is jet dark black, and she looked a little bit different or whatever. So he's pretty much, hey, what are you talking about? So right at that moment, she's pretty much saying the town is in trouble. The town is in trouble. A man popped up in a yellow suit, and it was doomsday for Jim at that moment. So he pretty much told Julie, get out of here. And he said, basically, I'm going to protect my daughter. So he grabbed a tree, and this man started pretty much talking to him and saying, that song that Jay played that was a hell of a song, pretty much. So now like I said, the song Jay was playing, did it bring back entity, a demon entity that was kept away, but the song brought it back to life. So this man in the yellow suit, you said, okay, Jim's character arc, pretty much, he redeemed himself enough, and now they're going to kill him. Sure enough, he tried to fight, told Julie run off, and he tried to fight this man. Of course, and now this is daytime while this is happening. So this man can arrive during the daytime. Once again, the group's still taking losses. So Jim tried to fight. He pretty much tossed Jim, threw Jim against the RV. Told Jim, I told you, Jim, your wife shouldn't have dug that hole in the house. So that voice that Jim heard on the satellite frequency, this was that guy. I mean, I believe it's that guy because he knew exactly. He sounded just like the guy that was on. Pretty much said your wife shouldn't have dug that hole or whatever. So it sounded like him. So I'm right now. I'm going on record saying I believe that was him who talked to Jim because he knew exactly what took place. So now those of us who's watching at this real time, like, oh, that's the man he was talking to way back through the satellite frequency. So right at that moment, he ripped Jim's throat out, blood everywhere, and it went off just like that. So overall, decent season. Overall, definitely one of the best episodes, if not the best episode in From. But the storyline still didn't get nowhere. Our group is still taking loss after loss, L after L, and they're not getting no wins. We know a little bit more about the storyline, but we still, it's like it just all started all over again. And we still don't have any weaknesses with the Nightcrawlers, but the blood that Boy had to put into the group. So overall, we're tuned into the next season, see where we go from here. They got to get more creative we're going to see with the aftermath, what happens with Sarah. That Elgin pretty much that he died from his torture, or he just gonna have a patch in his eye now and then hand all messed up. So what happens from there? Will be the aftermath of Fatima. So the group is broken at this point. So what's going to transpire from here? What did Julie do? Did she go back in her ruin and mess something up? Was she the reason that the man in the yellow was Bart back to life or whatever, or Bart where he can walk the day and all that? So it's a lot to be answered. We will tune back in, but I do get concerned, and you've been hearing me saying this in my other recaps, that will this show get lost? And they just a group can't keep going through. Those of us that's been fans of The Walking Dead, and season 6 was like the biggest season of all time. And when Kenny got, was it Kenny? Yeah, when Kenny got killed by Negan, and that was a huge episode. They anticipated us all the way, the whole season, and then at the end, they didn't let us see who died. And they was a missed opportunity because they really need to reveal that at the end of season 6. It was like we needed that. We the buildup was there and they just didn't show us. So our group, the very next season 7, beginning of season 7, it did show who got hit and everything. But at that time, months have passed and it wasn't the same. Like it was like, whatever. They missed opportunity. They could have competed with premium cable if they'd have just showed that. But nevertheless, when the next season came, the group, the whole season was just taking losses. They was underneath the gun with Negan, and they were pretty much imprisoned in the minds of the Negan group and all that. And so it got to a point where you just got tired of. We already had that situation happen at the end of season 6, and then you got to the point you got tired of the group just taking all these losses. Like they're not no wins nowhere, and the show went left. And then when they finally started getting some wins and they did bounce back, it was like you killed the group, the audience by then. And that's what they got to be careful with this. You can't keep having a season where people, the viewers, are just seeing their group take all these losses, and the underdog never wins and never get a win. And if they do get a slight win, they get 100 times more bad to them. So people are not that resilient. They need to see a win at some point to carry on and move forward or whatever. So, and that's just fact. Or they create a win for themselves, or what they believe is a win out of desperation. So that's a fact right there. So especially in today's time. So nevertheless, they gotta hope they get more creative with the writing. You gotta see the night crawlers or the other group start taking significant L's, and where it has them on the fence. Like, even if they not necessarily out of town, but now the night crawlers is on the fence too. Like, oh, they can battle us now. So we, the build up for a big war at the end or something like that or whatever. So nevertheless, we'll see how that pans out. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.